Welcome back. So, if you're a BE or BTech graduate and you've got your sights set on global horizons, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today's explainer is all about decoding that journey to overseas education and, crucially, how to actually secure the scholarships to make it happen. Okay, let's dive right into this.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at the top universities for engineers, break down the real cost of overseas education, explore funding and scholarships, and then walk through the exact steps to get a scholarship.
Part 1. Top universities for engineers. The absolute dream destinations for BE and BTech grads.
We're talking about the absolute best of the best globally. You've got MIT in the USA leading the charge in computer science, AI, and robotics. Then there's Stanford, Oxford, ET Zurich over in Switzerland, and the National University of Singapore. These aren't just schools, you know. They are literally innovation hubs. Just imagine being an electronics engineering student at MIT, actually working in these hyper-advanced labs to build AI-powered medical devices. Or maybe conducting artificial intelligence research at Stanford, alongside the very professors who practically wrote the book on the subject.
So you might be wondering, why are these institutions so fiercely coveted? I mean, sure, you get a world-class education with incredibly modern labs and excellent research opportunities. But the real return on investment? It's the high employability. We are talking about getting recruited directly by giants like Google, Microsoft, Tesla, and Apple. Plus, the global exposure is off the charts. You aren't just memorizing textbooks, you're doing hands-on teamwork with brilliant minds from all over the planet, building a truly global network.
And let's talk about the financial upside, because wow, it is massive. $120,000 to $180,000 a year. Let that sink in. That is the potential starting salary for an MS graduate in AI from a place like MIT. Obviously, it depends on the specific role and location, but it clearly shows that the earning potential is just astronomical when you have a top-tier university backing you up.
But, of course, getting there means passing a few threshold guardians. Here are the basic eligibility requirements you're going to need just to get your foot in the door. Naturally, you need your bachelor's degree, and you gotta have a highly competitive CGPA. We're typically talking 7.5 to 9.0 out of 10 or even higher. You'll also need to prove your English proficiency with tests like the IELTS or TOEFL, and, depending on the specific university, you might need to conquer the GRE. Finally, your application needs some real heart and character. That means a compelling statement of purpose, glowing letters of recommendation, and a really sharp resume.
Moving on to Part 2, the cost of overseas education. It's time to face the financial reality.
Which brings us to the exact question keeping every ambitious student up at night. Is studying abroad really that expensive? It's a completely valid fear, especially when you're looking at these prestigious, world-renowned programs. So, let's unpack it.
To really answer that, we have to look at the whole picture. The total cost of an overseas education isn't just what you write on the check to the university. You have tuition fees, yes, but you also have living expenses, meaning your accommodation and your daily food. Then, on top of that, you have to factor in travel, mandatory health insurance, books and study materials, and just your regular day-to-day personal expenses. Honestly, it all adds up pretty quickly.
And when we actually break down the numbers by country, well, the reality definitely sets in. The US is sitting at the top end, costing anywhere from 30 to a staggering 58 lakh rupees per year when you combine tuition and living expenses. The UK and Canada are slightly lower, but, still quite high. But then consider Germany. A lot of public universities in Germany actually charge low or sometimes absolutely zero tuition fees. Your main burden there is just living expenses, which brings the total way down to around 9 to 15 lakh rupees a year. That is a massive, game-changing advantage if you know where to look.
Even with great options like Germany, looking at those huge numbers leads a lot of brilliant students to a pretty heartbreaking conclusion. My family cannot afford to send me abroad. It feels like a closed door, doesn't it? But I am here to tell you for a fact that this is absolutely not the end of the story.
Because that brings us to Part 3, funding and scholarships. How to actually secure that financial support.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how people use funding and scholarship interchangeably all the time, right? But they are actually slightly different. Funding is a broad term for general financial support from universities, governments, or organizations that can cover all sorts of various expenses. A scholarship, on the other hand, is a specific financial award that you never have to repay. It's usually based on merit or need, and it typically targets your tuition fees directly, covering them either partially or fully.
So there are actually 5 distinct buckets of scholarships out there just waiting for you. First off, merit-based scholarships. These are for the academic stars, so think a CGPA of 9.0 or higher. Second, need-based scholarships, which exist specifically to support students from financially weaker backgrounds. Then you've got government scholarships, offered by bodies like the Government of India or the UK government, to really encourage international education. Fourth, universities themselves often offer scholarships. Like you might see a 30% tuition fee waiver just for international applicants with strong academic records. And finally, research scholarships. These are absolutely incredible for master's or PhD students, often providing a monthly stipend while you literally work on cutting-edge research.
But listen, scholarships aren't the only way to survive financially. You've got to be strategic in your daily life, too. Outside of applying for those formal awards, try choosing public universities where tuition is inherently lower. Commit to shared accommodation and cook your own food instead of eating out all the time. Use every single student discount you can get your hands on. And, critically, check your visa rules. Lots of countries actually allow you to work part-time, which can be a huge help in covering those daily living expenses.
All right, moving into part 4, steps to get a scholarship. This is your actionable blueprint.
Here is your exact 5-step playbook. Step 1. Maintain a strong CGPA, preferably an 8.5 or above. Step 2. Solidify that English proficiency through the IELTS or TOEFL. Step 3. Sit down and write a powerful, truly unique statement of purpose. Step 4. Secure strong letters of recommendation from your professors. But honestly, the crucial point here is really Step 5. Participate in mini projects, internships, research, and technical competitions. Think about it. Everyone applying to a top school already has good grades. It's those extra technical activities and research projects that will make a scholarship committee stop in their tracks and say, wow, we absolutely need to fund this student.
And putting in all that extra effort, it is absolutely worth it. Not only does it radically reduce your overall education costs, but it takes that massive financial burden right off your parents' shoulders. And more importantly, it allows you to focus purely on your studies and your research, rather than stressing over how you're going to pay rent next month. It encourages your academic excellence and basically opens the door to those incredible global career opportunities we were talking about at the very beginning of the explainer.
So, we've covered the best schools, the real costs, and exactly how to fund your journey. Now I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Which country would you choose and why? Now that you actually have the roadmap to overcome the financial hurdles and secure those scholarships, your dream destination is entirely up to you. So start planning, start applying, and go build the future you deserve. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next